What's up, everybody? Screeches here with some more reactions. As you can tell by the title, we're talking about an alphabet. And supposedly there's a better one than the quote-unquote English alphabet. Don't know how true that is. That's why we're going to look at this. I personally like the like Norse runes, like when they did the teaser trailer for God of War Ragnarok. I instantly knew what it said around it, but I studied that in high school. So, I mean, that's me. I'm a geek or a nerd like that. That's how it is. But let's see what they got to say. This is Rob's World. Rob's Word. What? Rob's Words. Words are hard. I just woke up, guys. I'm trying to get to the game. But yeah, let's see what he's got to say.
This is English, but so is this.
That is not English. Wait, is this shorthand for like lawyers?
And this one's better. And I'm going to show you how to use it. You know, one of the reasons why English spelling is such a mess, and it is a mess. You know, one of the reasons why English spelling is such a mess, and it is.
9 ways to say O-U-G-H. Uff. Ooh. I think that's how you also spell slog. Like S-L-O. Or no, because wouldn't that be slew? Okay, he should explain that one. Yep.
A mess, is that we're using the wrong alphabet. What's wrong with the Roman alphabet? Well, there is a clue in the name. It was originally used by the Romans, and the Romans were not speaking English. That's why their alphabet doesn't have a letter for the in that, or the ch in chat.
I mean, it's 2 letters. I'm broke already. Yeah, it's 2 letters. Like, why do you need a letter for that? That always confused me. Like the E in Aegis, it's A-E.
Or the sh in share. It also has nowhere near enough vowels to represent all of the English vowel sounds. Now, we've done our best over the centuries to try and deal with that by hashing together letters, by doubling, tripling, or even quadrupling them in a way that is, to say the least, inconsistent. So is it time for a change? Is it time for this? This is the Shavian alphabet. And
1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 40, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So it's only got, no, it's got way more. I almost said that it only got 2 more. I forgot. We're 26. That's 48. Jesus.
Alphabet designed specifically for the English language. Every sound that you can think of in any word you can think of in English is represented by these 48 letters. Just a second. Have a look at this book. It's the first one ever published in the Shavian alphabet back in 1962. And it even comes with an explanation of how to read and understand.
Okay, so tall, deep, short, compound. I don't.
The Shavian alphabet. It's Androcles and the Lion by George Bernard Shaw, the Irish playwright and Nobel laureate. The Shavian alphabet is named after George Bernard Shaw, but he did not invent it. Let me explain.
Okay.
You see, George Bernard Shaw thought that the alphabet that we're currently using was trash.
He saw the alphabet as a tool of his professional craft and thought it was extremely inefficient. So it was kind of a lifelong passion of his to fix it.
That's Evan Gallagher, who runs Shavian.info, and you'd struggle to find anyone alive today who knows more about Shavian than him. He's going to help us understand how it all works.
As a writer, he just wanted to save a lot of time and a lot of money and save ink and paper in printing books and the like, and frequently came back to that argument during his life.
Now, Shaw was too busy being...
I mean, it definitely looks like it would be that way, because when he went back to like the book, it was one alphabet on one side, our regular alphabet on the other, and like half the page was used up.
One of the preeminent writers of his day to fix the problem himself. However, he left a vast amount of money in his will to enable someone else to do it. But after Shaw's death in 1950, things got messy. Stick around to find out. First, to get a bit used to the Shavian alphabet and how darn efficient it is, keep an eye on the captions in this next bit, because I just want to introduce you quickly to something I've been having a lot of fun with just recently, and that's War Thunder. It's a vehicle combat game you can play for free on your PC, Xbox or PlayStation, where the makers have paid ridiculously close attention to detail. They've recreated the most iconic tanks, planes, helicopters and ships
I thought it was like
from the past
actual
century,
captions.
right down to their individual components. And you can ride them into battle in a full 4K immersive experience. If you're a history geek like me, if you're into your World War II and Cold War, this is a great game for you. I had a lot of fun flying around in my vintage British fighter plane, or just using my keyboard and mouse too. I loved customizing the vehicles, the music really sets the scene, the sound effects are just satisfying, and you can tell it's been lovingly made. So play War Thunder for free on PC, Xbox and PlayStation. Use my link below to download the game and get your exclusive bonus. Multiple premium vehicles, a premium account, an exclusive 3D decorator for your vehicles, and much, much more. See you on the battlefield.
For the record, come on, phone. I always let the ads play because we get to react to these videos. See if that helps. Was turning on another light. Yeah, I always let the ad because we get to react to these videos. So they should at least get something out of it other than just a thank you, you know, and the ability to have a peaceful cease and desist. So by letting these ads play, more people are going to be able to see their ads, their promo codes. Like I won't have them linked in the description, but they'll be able to see them and they'll be able to use them. Like it's just a small thing that I think we could do in kindness. I see other people cut the ads out and I just think that's rude.
George Bernard Shaw leaves much of his fortune to the sole pursuit of inventing a new English alphabet. What do you think happens next?
Nothing.
Well, exactly what GBS almost certainly knew would happen. The will is contested by a couple of worthy organisations who felt the money really ought to have been in their hands. In the end, the dispute was settled out of court, and the £100,000 Shaw initially left to the Alphabet project was busted down to a rather more modest £8,300. But that was more than enough to run a competition with a cash prize of £500,000 for someone to design the new alphabet. An alphabet that Bernard Shaw insisted would need to have a minimum of 40 characters to properly represent English. As you can see
40
here,
characters?
he quite literally did the math.
Okay.
He also stipulated in the will itself that the alphabet must enable
I heard that little S at the end.
English to be written without indicating single sounds by groups of letters or by diacritical marks. So basically no accents. In the end, around 500 people entered the competition, which had received shed loads of publicity from the court case. However, the judges weren't blown away by any of the entries. Inventing an alphabet is hard, it turns out. I should know. I've tried. Yes, all right, I should have got rid of C. You can stop telling me now. The prize money
I do agree C needs to go away. Because we have K.
ended up being shared between 4 entrants, but after a bit of refining, one of the 4 alphabets emerged ultimately victorious. This one.
It looks pretty. It looks like it'd be like elvish bullshit, to be honest. Like you would see this in some sort of like, maybe not Tolkien, but definitely Dungeons and Dragons like theme type thing.
by an art graduate named Ronald Kingsley
An art graduate that explains why it looks pretty.
Reed, a man who could accurately be described as letter obsessed. This is the Shavian alphabet.
I mean, other than like one or two. Oh, that's weird. Oh, okay. No, they're all like that. All right. So other than like one or two specific letters, it's the first 10 characters and then the second 10 characters the same but upside down and backwards. And this is with a fountain pen or a brushstroke. You can tell because if you look at just the first one, you have a broad that goes into a narrow back to a broad. And then you have a broad that narrows, broad, narrows, it flexes. So you get that art type thing. And I guess that's why also all of them are, so they're upside down and then they're flipped 90 degrees. Because if you're just using like a standard pencil or pen, what's going to happen is you're not going to be able to see the brush strokes. So you're not going to know like which way is it if it's just upside down. So the fact that they're also, for the most part, backwards, like that 10th and 20th one are going to be hard because they look the same. Well, it's upside down, so it doesn't matter. That's right. That's right.
So let's get to know these characters better. Well, all good introductions begin with a name, and each letter in Shavian is named using an existing English word that contains the sound the letter represents. Some of the names are kind of cute, like peep for the p sound and haha for the h. Others are less adorable, like gag and ooze, and some of them are just a bit strange. I mean, what's Ian doing in there? Who invited Ian? Anyway, those are the names, but what about the shapes?
The Shavian alphabet was designed at a time when handwriting was still, I guess, the dominant way that most people in everyday life use the alphabet. And each letter was designed to be written with a single stroke of the pen. So it was quite efficient.
Great, so no dots or crossbars. None of these letters requires you to take your pen off the page. You can see that one or two of them look a little like their Latin equivalent. The S looks like an S, the Z isn't a million miles from a Z, the G is somewhat G-like, and the O in words like oak has the distinct ring of an O about it.
Yep.
But it's best not to rely too heavily on that idea. What here is a dead ringer for a C is actually the L sound, and this very V-like fellow actually means ooh.
Sorry to butt in, Rob, but it's actually more like an O sound. Still isn't a V, though.
But anyway, mostly
fair.
these letters look nothing like the Latin alphabet, and that's because their shapes
Well,
follow a logic that our existing alphabet does not. Their shapes are based on their sounds. You see all these tall letters? All but two of them represent what are called voiceless consonants. These are the consonant sounds you make without using your vocal cords. Sounds like p, t, and s, which you make just using your breath and your lips. Go on,
Okay.
try it.
Okay.
T, s,
I get it.
t, s. You see? Not using your vocal cords. On the other hand, most of the deep letters
Mouth
represent
sounds.
the consonants where you do use your vocal cords,
Bill.
like b, d, and z. Can you hear it? B, d, z. Your turn again.
Yeah, I'm not doing it. Sorry.
You'll notice that a lot of the deep letters are just the tall letters rotated through 180 degrees. And that's because b and p, for example, are similar to each other. Just one of them is voiced. The same goes for d and t and others there too. The remaining four.
So, fun fact as a musician, I was a percussionist, so this doesn't apply to me specifically, but with our trumpeters, we were trying to, like, they're like, play soft. And like, well, what do you mean how you play soft? And he goes, well, when you want to have staccato, which is like an attack, like ta 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 ta, you know, ta ti ti ta 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 ti ta. It sounds aggressive. which is great for like a march. But when you're playing like a ballad, you would want da 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 da. So that's Mario. Hope I don't get that hit. But it's more of a da sound. So that actually makes sense that those two are paired up.
Or tall and deep letters, yay, hung, whoa, and ha-ha, are just designed that way for convenience. I think it's to stop them being confused with others. I'm not totally sure. The others being the so-called short letters, which include what are known as the liquid consonants, as at the start of lol, lol, and raw, the nasal consonants, and
Okay.
and the vowel sounds.
I've
Have you ever
never
noticed that all our existing vowels are short letters too? So that's the 40 sounds George Bernard Shaw reckoned we needed letters for. So what
Excuse
about
me.
the other 8 in Shavian? Well, these are all compound characters that incorporate common combinations of sounds like ear and u. But there we
Okay.
have it, our new phonetic English alphabet. Except, hold on a second, is it actually phonetic? Evan?
It's often described as phonetic, but I think really it's better described as phonemic, which means that it represents,
That sounds like a disease or a sickness or something.
I guess, the common types of sounds across English accents, but doesn't represent the exact sound that that each of us says.
Right, so this is a little tricky to get your head around, but just let me try to explain. The Shavian alphabet does not tell you how to say a word, like
Well, then how the hell do we know how to say it?
the International Phonetic Alphabet does. It tells you which of the sounds in your own personal repository of sounds to apply, because not everyone speaks English the same way. So for example, think of how you say the word helicopter,
Helicopter.
specifically how you say the end of that word. Do you actually pronounce the R?
Helicopter, whereas other people say helicopter.
Because I don't. I say helicopter, as do speakers of British received pronunciation or
Water.
Australians like Evan.
Authorities are investigating the conduct of a peckish pilot who landed his helicopter right next to a Macca's to pick
That sounded like she said ER.
up its takeaway.
But speakers of so-called general American English, just as an example, do pronounce the R. Helicopter. Can you hear that sound despite my atrocious attempt at an American accent? So if Shavian were a phonetic alphabet, the word helicopter would have to be written differently by a speaker of British received pronunciation than by a speaker of general American, like it is in the International Phonetic Alphabet. But that isn't the case. That last letter in the Shavian word helicopter, the compound letter array, isn't telling you what the end of helicopter should sound like. It's telling you to use whatever sound your accent makes in these situations. It's a good system, but one that forces you to become acutely aware of what sounds you're actually making.
I'm not sure about
One
it.
of the first things people realize when they start learning Shavian is that, hang on, I have an accent because I'm reading what other people are writing and it's not how I say it. So you begin to see English in a different way. And it's,
I will say, like, I do appreciate the fact that it's like accent less. There was another word I was thinking of, but I'm not sure it's actually correct. But the fact that it doesn't factor in accents is honestly a good thing, or that it does. I would say it doesn't because of what he just said. Like, it's about how you say things, not how we expect you to say them. So, like over here, the helicopter versus helicopter, water, water. What I zebra, and then my manager at the time, he's from across the pond. And I really screwed him up one day. He had me doing throwaways because I worked in the dairy department. We throw away everything that's bad. And I'm like, well, you want me to take care of all this yogurt, so, you need to leave me alone. And then he walked away, shut the door, which takes like a minute to close. And then I could hear him walk like 4 steps, like in my head. And then all of a sudden the door opens back up and he goes, "What the fuck did you just say?" I'm like, I told you to leave me alone if you want the work to get done. He goes, no, 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 that's not what you said. What did you say? I'm like, yogurt? He goes, you're the first American I've ever heard say it like that. I'm like, well, I mean, it's called the English alphabet, and it, you know, shouldn't we say it the way the English do? It's not the American alphabet. Which, I mean, I've always kind of agreed like that with school. Like, if it's called something, it should be something. Otherwise, we don't speak English, we speak American here in the States. Welcome to my TED Talk.
It's quite kind of liberating to see your own language that way. We're used to sort of the cognitive dissonance of reading letters in words that aren't actually pronounced and haven't. Sort of the cognitive dissonance of reading letters in words that.
Okay, so I know people who will say cannot. I am not going to say how my friends say night. But I guess you could call that nift, just to show you how screwed up the language is. Gallagher, old comedian from like the 80s and 70s, would call that two.
Aren't actually pronounced and haven't been pronounced for hundreds of years.
Could. I feel like the L's there, but like, I don't know. Cold. Could. That one's hard.
And just seeing it written as we speak is quite a novel experience.
So when writing in Shavian, are we just supposed to replicate our own speech on the page? Well, not exactly.
There is a standard, but it's not mandatory. No one obviously can enforce a standard in Shavian. The standard was established in Androcles and the Line, which is based on British received pronunciation. And so it's got those very British vowels. Today, people tend to spell either according to the way they speak themselves, or they adapt to the standard, or they go somewhere in between. I tend to think of the standard spellings in Shavian as more like a theme on which people can make their own variations.
They're more like guidelines.
An interesting case is proper nouns, so names for people and places. Writing just a year after unveiling his alphabet to the world, Kingsley Reid said, "It is hoped that we can agree how to spell our countries," and he recommended the following. Interesting, he opted for New Zealand and not new. By the way, the dot in front of each of those is called a namer dot. It's Shavian's replacement for the capitalization of first letters.
Okay, so to show capitalization. I thought he was going to say like proper nouns.
Other punctuation is pretty much the same as we use now, although some people drop all or some of the apostrophes.
I don't even. Oh yeah, because the AR is a double letter. So is there an apostrophe in there? And I thought that, okay, well that's a different looking S. MAR. Yeah, there's no apostrophe.
Anyway, those are countries, but on people's names, Kingsley Reid said, obviously our own names should be spelt as we wish them spoken. Though no Britisher will spell a British John otherwise than John, there's no reason why an American John should not be John, he so wishes. That's interesting, isn't it? So if we were to adopt Shavian...
How the hell did you... The H is... Never mind.
And I might suddenly find myself spelling my name, Rob, differently to other Robs or Robs around the world. How would it work with your name? But why should we adopt Shavian? What's the point of it?
Mine apparently is incorrect. I'm just going to say that. It was on the screen.
Well, it goes back to George Bernard Shaw's original aim. It is more efficient. Think about it. This system not only gets rid of the need for multiple letters to make single sounds, but it also eradicates silent letters completely. Shaw once wrote, "I should be able to spell though with 2 letters, should with 3.
Oh, he's talking about Shavian. Okay, I'm like, how the hell are you supposed to spell though with 2 letters? Like, though should be THO. Should SHOOD, because like I'll argue the L. You know, but I could even say SHUD. That might need an umlaut.
And enough with 4. 9 letters instead of 18, a saving of 100% of my time and my typist's time and the printer's time, to say nothing of the saving in paper and wear and tear of machinery. The Shavian alphabet achieves that and would come as enormous relief to Shaw's typist, I'm sure. Another space-saving characteristic of Shavian is that double letters are banned, unless the repeated letter is actually sounded out twice. The double N in unnamed is fine because you hear 2 N's, unnamed, but the double N in the word annoyed is just frankly annoying. Oh, and also, some common words have been reduced to just a single letter representing the dominant sound in them, namely the, of, and, to, and, for some modern users, for. All of these little savings soon add up.
How much more efficient is it?
I've never really done the statistics myself, but I think I've read that it's about it saves at least 1 in 6 letters. When you see Androcles in the line on the page, the Shavian alphabet takes about 2/3 of the space of the Roman alphabet. Partly that, I think, reflects the streamlined design of the letters, but also it reflects the absence of redundant letters that don't contribute to the sound of the words.
Okay, let's do our own little
Which, I mean, that is nice. Like, unnamed. Okay, yeah, now that I say it, like, yeah, you do hear the double. I mean, it definitely looks more efficient.
experiment. This is the preamble to the US Constitution
Jesus Christ.
in the Latin alphabet, and this is it in Shavian. What a time saver. But you know
Not
what
really.
isn't saving anyone's time? Having to learn 48 letters instead of the 26 we have to deal with now.
Agreed.
So how do you justify that one, Evan?
One thing to remember is that the conventional
I mean, 48's okay. I think the Japanese has 100 and something, or the Chinese.
So how do you justify that one, Evan?
One thing to remember is that the conventional Latin alphabet actually has
Oh.
52 letters because you have capital letters and lowercase letters.
Yeah, but only like I'm actually going through them in my head. Actually, I don't even think that's true. I was going to say that some of them, only like 2 or 3 of them, have a different sound based on their capitalization, but no, that's based on their position in the word. So yeah, you only have 26 letters.
Which are all very differently shaped from each other. So
I mean, that's a difference in lowercase and undercase, but there's completely different types of writing. Like copperplate, I believe, just uses capital letters as lowercase letters. They just shrunk them down to like 2/3 the size.
So you could argue that it has fewer letters than the Latin alphabet, but more efficiently used.
What's more, the way that the Shavian letters have been paired up with one another means you're having to learn considerably fewer than 48 shapes. Another win for Shavian, I reckon. So if Shavian really can save English speakers the world over both time and money, and also rescue them from the tyranny of English spelling, why 60 years after it was given to us does almost everyone seem to have forgotten about it?
Because standards, like, it's not practiced, for one. Almost positive that's the case. It's hard to get people to change things. Like, do I still remember most of the runic alphabet? Yeah, at least the version that I learned, which was quote unquote Anglo-Saxon, I believe. But almost all the letters translated to whatever they used for Thor Ragnarok, God of War Ragnarok. Like, there was one letter I didn't get, but it was like once I had all the other letters, I knew which one it was.
As native speakers, we spend about 6 years or more learning to spell with conventional spelling. That's a lot of time invested, and it's people, I think, are reluctant to give that up. And that's probably why it didn't catch on so much. Learning a new alphabet as well is something like going back to kindergarten in a way is quite a big ask for a lot of people.
Yeah, and can you imagine all of the faff associated with having to replace every book, every sign written in Latin script with Shavian, and the cost of it? Shaw's $3 million suddenly wouldn't seem so enormous, would it?
I mean, so you would have to start by one of two ways. I would suggest starting with like college classes, having specific professors and seeing how it takes off and using that as like a test bed, getting people to pick that up. Like they have to write in this kind of like the essay format. Like you have to write in Shavian, like how you have to write an essay in APA style, or MLA, or whatever the other ones are. It's all a bunch of bullshit. Just like write an essay, cite your sources. That's how I feel about it. Small rant aside, yeah, you would start with like having college classes take off and then see how that goes. And then that might pick up into like the geek or the niche or the fantasy place. Cause like I said, it looks like almost elvish. So you would have that go through. And then as that picks up, oh, this is actually better. And then you could then like start putting it in the textbooks at school. Like there's going to be a small textbook where this is the normal, but there's also this, kind of like learning a second language. I don't know why I keep getting broken today. Yeah, so you're going to have that. So like teaching them like English and Spanish, Roman alphabet, Shavian alphabet. That's one way to do it. The other way would be to just like have more book authors do it. Like Androcles and the Lion. One side's one way, one side's the other. When I was in school, there was Shakespeare for like idiots, is what I'll call it. And like on the right side of the page was real Shakespeare, and on the left side of the page was dumbed down English version for sixth grader, so that he could understand the book.
More because Shavian is specifically designed for English, it's not great for describing other languages. And if we were to stop learning to read the conventional Latin alphabet, we'd also lose the ability to read every other language that uses that alphabet too. So the practical case for Shavian is sort of lacking. But that doesn't mean it isn't worth learning and using. It's quirky, it's fun, and did you know it's already on your computer?
I think I have seen it. See, I think it would apply to most of them. Like, because we still have things with like Chinese. There's the katakana, or hiragana, the one where it's like English letters. So like you see how it's pronounced. Like that could in my head still work when you're writing it down that way. But now like the actual like traditional calligraphy in the vertical style, that's going to be a lot harder because there's like 100 characters there. Like, if I remember correctly, you have the word tree, which is a single character. And then there's a spot in tree where you can write tree in smaller font. And then it's like tree in a tree, which I believe stands for forest, which that's cool. So there's that.
Every Shavian character has its own Unicode, and if you go to Evan's website, you can download a Shavian keyboard right now onto your computer or your phone and just start typing. Evan actually developed those himself. The man is a genius. And if you don't want to download one, there's also one on Shavian.info that you can just play around with. There are Shavian fonts you can download, which I did for this video.
Okay, maybe that's
and
what I saw.
if you just fancy seeing what your name or whatever looks like in Shavian, there's also an online Latin alphabet to Shavian alphabet converter.
There's no copyright claims on Shavian. There's no ownership of it. So it's really free to anyone to use in any way they want to. There are people who use it for journaling, for art, for calligraphy, geeking out on social media with other people who love languages and alphabets.
See, this thing, that's how it gets started.
It's there to have fun with.
Thanks.
Well, it's like Klingon. Klingon's an official language now. And like it started out just as like a Star Trek thing. The geeks took over and now it's like an official like language.
So much to Evan for his help with this video. Thanks also to War Thunder for sponsoring it. Play War Thunder for free on PC, Xbox and PlayStation. Use my link below to download the game and get your exclusive bonus, an exclusive 3D decorator for your vehicles and much more. Use my link below, and while you're down there, why not leave a comment? You can leave it in Shavian If you like, I'll try my best to read it. Next, why not watch my own attempt at trying to improve the alphabet, or this video instead? And I'll see you over there.
I like that. Just throw a thumb at where I'm going to put a box of random video. I found that interesting. You know, link will be in the description below as always. Give RobWords, you know, a shout out. I've seen a couple of his things because I recognized them the moment he started speaking. I might do why we should go back to writing in runes at another date, but yeah, that was interesting. I don't like it. It looks too complicated. I feel like it'd be a dyslexic's nightmare. I will say that. Like, that would just be horrible to do. But that's where we're gonna leave off. I will catch y'all on the next one. Until then, bye-bye.